Hi guys, another lesson for you. So this lesson, it's all about I can develop a character through action. Okay, so we're looking at action. I can develop a character through action. Alright, so we're going to need to use verbs. Okay, so we're not doing what we did last lesson, where we looked at adjectives and similes, metaphors, expanded nouns. Okay, they're really important and we mustn't forget about those. But this lesson, we're looking at how to develop a character through action. So we're showing what they do, okay, that tells us what they're like. So we're going to need to use verbs, okay, and not your old ordinary verbs all the time, but exciting, interesting verbs, okay. Now, verbs are doing words. So to walk, to talk, any action, okay, anything a character's doing is going to need a verb. So I've got a couple of examples, walk and speak here. And walk and speak are quite ordinary verbs. Nothing wrong with them, but they're ordinary verbs. We can make these verbs more exciting. So for example, take the verb to walk, and can you think of any other ways that you could use to make your character go from one place to another, describing that movement? So instead of walk, what other verbs could you use? Pause it now and think of as many as you can. Okay, so you should have paused the tape or the video, whatever, and you should have thought of some verbs that mean a similar meaning to walking. So I thought of some: to scurry, to trudge, to march, okay, just to name a few. They're more descriptive, they're more interesting, and they tell us what a character is like. If a character trudges along, okay, that tells me they're not the most energetic of people, okay? They're just kind of trudging their own way, going at their own pace. If they're scurrying or scuttling along, then they're a lot more energetic and active in the way that they're walking. And so we need to be thinking about the kind of verbs we use. I've also got speak on my sheet, okay? All right, I've also got speaking. Now there's loads of different ways that we can say to speak. So what ways can you think of? Pause it now and then think of as many different ways as you can to describe speak. Okay, so to speak. What examples have we got? Well, I can think of to murmur, to whisper, to well, what other words are similar? Well, shouting, to shout, to holler, to all kinds of different verbs. Okay, I'm thinking on the spot, so there are lots of others. I'm sure that you can use a thesaurus and find loads of other verbs that mean a similar meaning to speak. You might be saying, yeah, but Mr. Davis, speaking is not the same as shouting. No, it's not. It's not the same as shouting. They are different things. However, you know, they are ways of communicating. So think outside the box with your verbs, if you like. Don't just stick to the common ones, like walking. Think of how you can add to that by maybe using a different verb. Other than walk, you could use scurry to say that he's moving quickly, or marched, or other ones. You know what I'm getting at. And then the verbs for speak. So rather than saying said all the time, which gets a bit boring and repetitive, murmured, okay, grumbled, etc. So think of, okay, different verbs that you could use. All right. So I'm going to give you a verb now that I want you to have another go at, which is laugh. Okay. What other verbs can you think of to say laugh? Off you go. Pause this and then think of some. Okay, so you've thought of some verbs that mean a similar thing to laughing. So giggle, okay, chuckle. There's two there. Snigger. So verbs can have, there's lots of different ways, okay, that we can use verbs. Verbs can tell us exactly what a character is like. Now, if you remember back to when we were discussing this with our latest story, okay, we were talking about Minty as a character in the book, if you remember, and Grandad Neil. Now, Minty is a bit of a naughty character, and we discovered that not because the author said Minty is naughty, because good authors don't actually say things like that. They like the reader to work it out, okay, for themselves. They don't like to they don't like to give away too much and make it too obvious. So instead of the author telling us Minty's a naughty, mischievous character, what does the author do? The author describes an action, okay, that Minty is doing. So Minty sneaks a ping pong ball into a pocket, and during a science investigation, okay, she sneaks it out of her pocket and drops it on the floor on purpose, and it lands at a different time to all the other things that are being dropped and nearly ruins the science experiment. And from that one action that Minty does, we kind of understand what kind of character she is. We know she's a bit mischievous, she's naughty, she's sly, okay? We know she's silly. But the author hasn't actually told us that, it's the action that's shown it. So this lesson is focused on how can you show what your characters are like through what they do, okay, without actually saying they are stupid, okay? How can you show they're stupid by what they do? So think of silly things they can do to show what they're like. Are they the opposite? Are they really intelligent? Okay, think of things they can do that show how clever they are. Okay, are they lazy? Are they a lazy character? Okay, tell me they're lazy by the way they walk, by how they carry themselves, how they sit at the desk in class, you know, slumped over. Tell me that they're lazy through action. Don't actually write down they are lazy. Understand? Right, so what I want you to do is, okay, I want you to write half a page. I want you to do a retell. So use the same characters you did before. Find a page in that book or a little section of that book that you really like, okay, and do a retell. In class, we did a retell, if you remember, from the time where Minty dropped the ping pong ball to the time where Grandad Neil sped off in his tour van, if you remember, his old tour van. And we did a retell of that part of that story, and you were just writing down the same story, you weren't changing it, you were retelling the story in your own words, and you were making sure you got plenty of action across to tell us what the characters are like. That's what I want you to do. I want you to do a retell, okay? Find a story that you like. It could be the ones we've done in class, it could be one you've got at home, and do a retell of a section, not the whole thing, just choose a little chunk of it, okay, from a starting point to a finish, and then do a retell, half a page, and make sure you describe your actions, describe the actions of the character, and try and use exciting verbs and adverbs, because adverbs are really important. Adverbs describe verbs, they tell us how verbs are happening. So for example, to walk, okay? To walk is the verb, but you can walk excitedly, okay? You can walk, and that's an adverb, excitedly, okay? To giggle is the verb, but add an adverb to giggle loudly. So using adverbs as well to describe how the verb is actually being carried out by the character, okay? Think about making your sentences exciting now as well by using a variety of different sentence starters, okay? So you can start a sentence with a verb, and we've looked at this before, but it's a good thing for you to have a go at. For example, running down the stairs, comma, he stumbled and fell at his mum's feet, okay? That's an example of starting a sentence with a verb, okay? You can start with the verbs in the past tense. Shocked and horrified, comma. Harry stood up to his feet to witness the most grotesque thing he'd ever seen in his life. For example, starting sentences in different ways. Use in front of the verbials. Using verbs, okay? Using an adverb. Excitedly, comma. And then continue the sentence, okay? Think of starting your sentences in different ways. Remember those conjunctions as well. Please don't use and then, and then, and then, and them all the time. That's not year 5 writing, is it? Okay. We need to use a variety of different conjunctions to link our sentences together. Okay. So I'm looking for, I've also realised how often I say okay, because I played my last video clip back of lesson 1 and I had no idea that I said okay that much, but I do. It might be because I'm talking to a phone, I'm not talking to a real class of children. That's a little bit weird for me. I don't feel completely relaxed. I feel on edge doing it because it's not something I do, to be honest. So you'll have to bear with me, class. As these lessons go on, I'll probably get a bit more relaxed and hopefully I won't be stumbling so much or saying okay constantly as I'm gathering my thoughts, talking to a phone, because that's what I'm actually doing. All right, so I hope you understand what I want you to do. I want you to describe your character using actions now. Half a page, okay? I want a variety of sentence starters and conjunctions, and still make sure your homophones are right. Make sure you're spelling the words correctly that you know how to spell. If you're not sure, look up words in a dictionary, okay? Make sure you're using a range of punctuation correctly. Okay, really push your writing now, okay? Even though you're not in school, we still need to try and keep up with our writing and make sure that we're doing the best we can do at home, okay? All right, again, if you'd like me to see some of your writing, just email it to me, okay? Send it to me. You can take a picture of it, send it as a picture, or maybe you could type it up on Word, okay? Like as best copy or something, and it could be emailed to me, all right? Okay, I hope you're well, guys, and enjoy.